What is going on, guys? I am currently standing in my 2005 flat-nose international school bus. I am building this awesome epic toy hauler. I have already chopped off the back part of the bus and I've been able to successfully park my Jeep on the back of the bus. This front half here I am currently renovating into a full-on RV. I've already gotten the couch, you've already seen the electrical box, and I also have the bed platform built in the rear. If you haven't already seen all this, I do have these already up on the channel, but today is going to be based off of building the kitchen that's going to be sitting right there. I think, other than, building the platform on the back, is the most important part of this bus build series. The fridge. Here it is. This is the ICECO freezer chest. It is the VL series. I saw this at SEMA last year and I knew I had to have it for this bus build. You can open up this side, you can open up this side, or you can just take the entire top off. That right there is absolutely awesome. I will be building out a slide out tray up underneath the counter, so being able to open it up on either side, depending on where it's at, I don't have to build the entire thing specific to, can only open one side. It can open for both, so who cares? And also, when I'm trying to refill it, full lot of food in there, I can just take this entire lid right off. That is huge. I love that. It is both AC and DC chargers, so you can plug it into a 12 volt or you can plug it into a 110 volt. This is also a true dual zone fridge freezer combo, so if you want to throw everything in the freezer on one side, everything in the fridge on the other side, all of it a freezer or a fridge, you can do whatever you want, set the temperatures separately or have them exactly the same. It does also show a battery monitor on here, so it actually monitors your battery and it will actually shut off. It'll go into eco mode and it'll kind of protect your battery that way. Let's say I wanted to go ahead and just grab it and throw it out into the Jeep and take that with me wherever I'm going. So, will it even fit? I did go for the second largest one that they have. This is only 80 quart cooler fridge combo. They have a bigger one. It's like 90 quarts. I don't know if this is gonna fit in the bus. Let's go find out. Not the bus, the Jeep. Let's go find out if it fits in the Jeep.
Nope.
I might have to get a smaller one specifically for the Jeep. I didn't think that part through, but my thought on that was I could go grab this, pick it up, carry it out to the Jeep, throw it in the Jeep, and take it with me all day on the trails. This one might have to just stay in there because it doesn't quite fit in the Jeep. I might have to get the slightly smaller version of it to throw in the Jeep in addition to this one. It's not really like super heavy. I think it's like 60, 70 pounds, but it's just more awkward. So let me try and get this in the bus. It's a tad heavy. Huh. Mitsubishi Delicacy. So my main thought was getting this sitting in here how I wanted it. Right here on this side of it, I do have that open hatch for gaining access to the top of the fuel tank. That way, if I need to swap out the fuel pickup tubes, fuel pumps, stuff like that, I do have access without having to build anything over the top of it. This side being a little bit more open, that's gonna be for the sink. I have the water tank underneath there that I will plumb in. Very, very short distance to plumb, which is awesome. And I'm gonna build a countertop that comes across over here, kind of the same height level as the back of the couch. So I will be building everything, all the cabinets and everything, out of birch. And I will do a huge shout out to the father-in-law, Kevin, for telling me all this information, the tools and all that, because I am not good at woodworking and you helped me out a lot. So thank you very much. So I will be building out two pretty much identical pieces. One side is going to sit up against the fridge. The other side is going to sit against the edge of the bed. Hopefully I do it right on the first try. 24 inches depth and then 36 inches tall. Should sit something just like this. With these two set up kind of how they're gonna sit right here, I need to figure out what the width between the two of these are going to be. In theory, from the edge of here minus a little bit of thickness of wood that's going to be the wall out to the edge over here, it is going to be about 60 or so inches. That's 5 feet of counter space minus whatever the width of the sink is going to be. That's quite a bit. So I am going to be using this pocket hole jig to basically make pocket holes in here. I've never used one of these things before, so I already tried to use one, and I definitely messed up the first time I tried it. Yeah, now that I'm a lot better at it, with all these sections cut out, pocket drilled, I actually did put the back two pieces on because I was, frankly, first time doing it ever in my life. So I wanted to make sure I did it right before I put it on video. Just drilled the pocket screws, threw some wood glue on there, and I just need to do it for the rest of them up front. Got the top, the bottom. All right, so that wasn't too bad. My first cabinet I have ever built, ever, is now in place. And I think it looks actually pretty decent. Okay, so I did a bunch of math. The cooler is 34.3 inches without the handles on it. Then for the base, we'll be adding on an inch of siding so it can't slide out. So it puts it at 35.5. Then these slides are 3/4 of an inch wide. Got to add on extra support to screw it into. Add on extra 1/2 inch for each of those. So if my math is mathing correctly, that'll be a 38 inch in the front and a 38 inch in the back. And then I'll be able to screw this guy in and kind of finish up with the main basis, and then we can start working on the countertop itself. That one might have to wait till tomorrow. All right, it is now the second night, and it is time to start taking care of the countertop itself. I have the plywood in the garage. It is just time to measure it out and cut it. So when it comes to the countertop, there's two different pieces of wood that I have here. There is the birch wood that I have been using. That works really, really well if I want to paint it, but it doesn't work too well if I want to burn it. I tried, it doesn't quite turn out the same as the rest of it. The backboards of the couch are the awesome, beautiful, like that burned glossed stain. I absolutely love to keep that, so I am going to actually not use birch for the countertop or the tabletop. I'm going to use the sanded plywood that is right behind it. With this piece of plywood all cut up, I think it is time to go test fit it and see what it looks like inside the bus before I do anything else with it and spend more time if I messed up. I do not mind that at all. It actually looks pretty nice. Obviously, it's rudimentary. I need to do a lot more stuff to it, but I think that is a fantastic size right there. I was gonna round this off. I don't think I really need to round it off much. Probably will round it a little bit right here so that looks a little bit nicer, around this here so that looks a little nicer, but I don't think I really need to cut much into this part right here. I definitely need to do a router over the edges. Then I'm also going to sand the top of it as nice and clean as I can, with still leaving a bit of a texture. The reason behind leaving a texture still on there is because while you're driving down the road, if somebody's back here cooking something, having a texture on the surface is going to keep things from sliding off or anything around a corner or something like that. So I am going to leave a little tiny bit of a texture on there. With the sink now unboxed, it is beautiful. It is kind of a blackish, kind of metallic-y look. I think that'll look very, very good up against the wood grain once it's all burned in and making it look nice. I measured out either side is 5.5 inches towards this edge, 5.5 inches towards this edge, and then just barely over 5.5 inches towards that edge. So it is pretty darn squared up in this. I'm gonna use a straight edge to mark it out, and then drill a couple pilot holes, and then use the jigsaw to cut out the rest that I need. With this now in the garage, it is now my favorite part. It is the actual burning of the top layer of the wood. It is bringing all this wood grain out that you see. It's kind of light and bringing that green part of it to be a lot darker. I absolutely love the look of this, and that is what we're doing for pretty much every single surface of the bust. And for the record, I'll be using a butane torch. This will be doing all my burning for the night. Hopefully this is enough gas in here to burn the whole piece of wood. I also want to make sure that I am burning the outside edges of it so it is all uniform color all the way around it. So, okay, I just love the look of this. This is so beautiful. Please let me know in the comments below what you think of this design, this burning technique. So I'm using this stuff here. It's a polyurethane, water-based. Pretty much lays on like a white milky color, but then it turns completely glossy like I used for the rest of the stuff. So I'm gonna be using the same exact stuff, same exact method. So in theory, everything should match. I'm excited to see what this end product is here. As you can see, it's a super milky color. All right, this thing is now completely coated. Don't worry about the extra lines in there. This stuff does kind of settle itself and pools into like the lower spots and evens itself out. And would you look at that? The first coat is now dry on there. It does have a little bit of that texture that I was talking about, which is perfect. I need to apply a second coat on here, so I'm gonna do that real quick. This is just a little excerpt. Let's jump back to it tonight after everything is all cured up. We can actually install everything on this countertop. Let's jump to that. All right, this is looking absolutely phenomenal. Does leave an ever so slight texture on there, which is exactly what I wanted. Looking at it, you can't really see the texture. You'd have to actually physically feel it, but it's like an ever so slight grip on there. I don't know how better to say that. So while driving on the road, things should not slip and slide off this if you hit the brakes or going on a corner. Now that this is complete, it is time to start putting it onto here. I will be putting some pocket holes up underneath here, use the clamp thing, and then I'm gonna throw a whole bunch of super glue up in here. Not super glue, wood glue, to glue everything together and then screw it all up and in so it'll be nice and secure. Ideally, this will never have to be removed again. I'm really hoping that's the case because I don't want to have to remake this. So I definitely used plenty of glue. As you can see, there's plenty of glue squeezing out along the entire surface here, which is totally okay. I can just wipe that off, which I'll do here in a second, but everything is now secured down. Everything is looking great. Just a thin bead of silicone all the way around. With the countertop now done, it is time to start talking about the fridge. Like I said earlier, I am basically building the entire kitchen around this ICECO fridge. This is the most important part of the build right here, in my opinion, other than the flatbed, so everything needs to be based off of this right here. Ideally, I want to be able to have some drawers popping out right here, so I want to be able to have this fridge being able to slide in and out. Not only will that give me access to lift it out pretty much when I want to take it out, but on the side here will also give me access to double checking all the power, check out the temperatures inside of there, adjust it, and everything of that sort. So that means I need to pretty much rebuild a whole tray system that's going to be able to slide out holding the fridge up. My plan is to cut out an extra piece of birch plywood and do it to the dimensions of the bottom of the fridge. Then after I get that all together, make some strips that are 2 inches that I can actually secure to the side to kind of make a little structure around it so it doesn't slide off of the slides. It'll also give me a place to mount the slides too. So I got the fridge inside of the tray, but there was one thing I kind of forgot about, was the extra little edges, the trim piece to protect the corners. That did not fit, so I did have to take the router and cut a little tiny bit out right there just to make that fit and slide on in. But because of where they're at, it's not going to affect any of the strength of it, and it's gonna be perfectly fine. So after a lot of thought, I did end up cutting myself a lot larger of a board. Instead of 2 inches, this one's 6 inches, so it should give you a lot more play on up and down. I just need to glue this down to the floor and to the backside of the cabinet, and then run some screws through those pocket holes and then through the top as well. That way it's gonna be nice, secure, glued down, glued together, and super solid. With the rail itself, I'm just using 2 1/2-inch extra spare pieces of plyboard, so basically 1 inch, and I'm going to be lifting the physical mounted rail. It's going to be sitting 1 inch above the floor. In theory, these slides are made to be 250 pounds for the pair. I am going to say that is going to be way more food and drinks and everything that's going to be inside of this cooler here. I am pre-drilling each of these holes just to make sure they're nice and straight in there, and I'm using these screws that are going to go in to both sides of the birch that we put down. With this all now complete, down there, that is all complete, it is time for the moment of truth to slide this in and see if it fits. In theory, I did everything right. Measured twice, cut once, or screwed once, so let's see if that works. That is super tight in there. I think because there's no weight on it, it's gonna kind of hinder that slightly, so let's throw some weight on there. Let's throw a cooler on there and see how it goes. All right, and would you look at that? The cooler is mounted on a slide rail, and it is fully locked and latched in place. And I did leave enough room on top to open the doors all the way up, so you can pull stuff out, load stuff in, whatever you want. Like I showed you guys earlier, if you wanted to. And pull the door off completely. That way you can air it out or load it up a little bit easier if you have a lot of stuff to add in there. So this part I wanted to be sure to maintain access to. It is one of the most vital parts of the fridge, cooler, freezer combination is the control panel here. Keep this access here and be able to control the temperatures however I want it. Because 100% I'm going to have ice cream in this thing. Wherever I go, some ice cream sandwiches are going to come with me. I'm going to link this ICECO cooler, fridge, freezer, whatever combo you want to call it. I'm going to link that in the description below for you guys. Definitely check that out. It is massive, and this is even the biggest one I got. This is the biggest one that I thought I could fit in here, and I am about correct on that one. So with that, I think the kitchen is now complete. Got the sink done, got the cabinets done, got the most important part of it, the fridge done, and got the power outlets, got my switch, and everything less paint is now done on the kitchen. I think that's going to be it for this video. So if you guys liked the video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to see you guys all next time. And check out that ICECO cooler. It's pretty awesome.